name's Lee Armstrong. I am an actor. I belong to the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists. So I am a professional actor, and I've worked in almost 120 films, about 16 television projects. So over my career, I've had some wonderful opportunities. And I also teach acting for the camera at Pitt Community College. And I enjoy teaching a lot, enjoy teaching the new students and seeing their creativity come out, and it's a good match. Well, I think that it is going to be different for everyone, and it really depends on how you measure things. I remember when I was studying theater in college, and I really didn't know too much about the business. My uncle was asking me about that, and I said, well, I want to make $350,000 a year, which I still haven't hit, but I have had a few good years. I think that I just really wanted to be a working actor, and I think I've hit that. I'm able to do that. I seem to be able to work a little bit every year, and I've been fortunate to have some big projects fall into my lap, and then also a lot of the smaller projects with people working. So I think success is liking what you're doing, and you have to find your passion. What is it that you really want? And then we do other things that we have to do in order to support that. And I think having a good family life is extremely important, because that gives you the personal satisfaction, and then if you can have the professional satisfaction on top of that, it's sweet. Well, I think with being an actor, it's a business unlike any other business. And when you have to be so flexible, like when I got cast in The Front Runner with Hugh Jackman, okay, they called, I think it was on a Wednesday, can you take the part? It's going to be 6 weeks in Atlanta. Now, you know, if you're not making enough money, which I'm not, then I have a day job, then, you know, you have to balance that. But if you can imagine having a life where suddenly, can I be gone for 6 weeks? Fortunately, I had a very understanding boss and bosses here at the college, and I was able to work it, and then I would come back if there was a break, intermediate, and drive back and forth. But, you know, it's that flexibility to be able to get up and do things at a moment's notice. Last night, I had a taping for an audition scheduled, and before I got to leave to go to the taping, another audition popped up, and there were 2 roles in that. So I wound up trying to tape for 3 different parts on the same night, and that's challenging. But I think it's also rewarding when you just get to work with people who are so talented and so fun. And not everyone is, but most are. And challenging in being an instructor, for me, being a teacher, it's always like Christmas when a new class comes in, because you get to open, you don't know who they are when they walk in, and suddenly you get to open it up, and then it's like, oh, that's what's inside there. And you meet the most interesting people, and you know, and some of them are not planning to be professional actors, but this is something that they're investigating and trying. And I think the personal growth is so great. And you know, a lot of kids just have never been told that they do something well. And so for them to hear, that was really good, it's a very different experience for them. Now I tell them when it's not so good as well, but that's so they can believe me when I tell them that it's good. But I think that the challenging part is also just trying to express what the discipline is for this job, because it takes a lot of hard work. And sometimes people will tell me, well, how did you get to do 120 films and 16 TV projects? How did you get to do that? Must not be so hard. I just say, well, I work my butt off. I think I can say that. Anyway, but I work very hard at it. So I think anybody who's serious as a professional does that. So I think that's it. And for me, I'm a little bit challenged by the modern technology. I don't get the computers so very well, and so fortunately there are services that I can drive to, that when I have an audition, they can tape me with the right lighting, the right sound. So my advice for people who want to go into this field, first of all, study. You've got to know the craft, but then you also have to know the business. Because being an actor is always about job hunting. You're always looking for the next role, the next opportunity. And so if you don't know how the business works, what doors to knock on, where to go, you can work just as hard as you want and you're not going to get very far. So I think taking professional classes is really important. People in Los Angeles, New York do it, and people where we're in the kind of more regional markets should also be doing that. You get cast in a film. Usually you show up on set. Now I've worked long enough that in the Southeast I usually tend to bump into one or two people that I know, whether on a crew or in the actors. But frequently, you walk into a set and you don't know anybody. And what I love the most is when they first start rolling your scene and then they see that you're good. Suddenly you have a whole new room full of best friends. That is utterly, you have captured that, and that is the most fun. Well, I moved here to Greenville in 1991 from Los Angeles. It was a bit of culture shock, I must say. It was quite different than Los Angeles. And this was my first time living in the South as well. I have come to really enjoy it and like it. As an actor, when I first came here, there wasn't a lot of film production here. Almost nothing. And it wasn't until about 2000 when digital cameras came out and suddenly people could make good quality films and projects using inexpensive equipment that things started to burgeon and boom. And it's only progressively gotten even more so. And so now I find that Greenville is not a bad place. I can hit Baltimore in about 5 hours. I can be in Atlanta in 8. I can head over to Knoxville or Nashville where they're also filming, down to Charleston. So, there's a lot of different places that you can get to where projects are being filmed. And so I like that. I also kind of like Greenville is large enough for people here to think it's a big city, but not so very large that you can't kind of know where things are. So I enjoy that, and I enjoy the people here.